It's just a conversation. And so all sorts of bits and bobs and honesty and truth and arguments and bickering, it all comes out. Hiya everyone, I'm back with another review for the Radio Times Book Club, sponsored by Dr. Oetker Ristorante. Now this one is very close to my heart, as the book is When Gavin Met Stacey and Everything in Between by Ruth Jones and James Corden. I'm pairing this with a delicious Hawaii pizza from Ristorante because, in my opinion, ham and pineapple are a dream duo, just like Smithy and Nessa. They might be a bit unconventional, but I love them all the same. I can already tell this one is going to be well lush. I really enjoyed When Gavin Met Stacey and Everything in Between because it really gives you an insight into how to make a TV show and how it starts, from the creativity between two people, Ruth Jones and James Corden, when, they get that spark and that idea, and then how that actually, in a long period of time, eventually gets onto the TV. I loved the book because there was so much that I just didn't know about their relationship and about the show and what they wanted it to be in the beginning and then what it eventually ended up being. It was fascinating getting an insight into all of the different characters, like the character of Stacey. It didn't start out the way she eventually ended up being, and that was fascinating to see that. And what I also loved was how Ruth and James are so incredibly honest in the book. They talk about their ups and downs. They talk about falling out with each other. They talk about, it's either after the BAFTAs or the NTAs, how they have a really big argument and then they don't speak for quite some time. I mean, they're quite, brutal and honest with, the truth and what's happened in their relationship. And I thought that was a really nice insight. Loving, heartwarming, funny, just a beautiful book. It made me laugh, it made me cry. Oh, it was just lovely. I would give this book 6 out of 5 stars. Now, I would give this book top marks. I think it's got the lot. It really lets you know about Gavin and Stacey, about the casting, the cast going all together. As a fan, reading it, you just go, I want to get an insight into what it was like filming. What were the funny moments? What bits went wrong? How was it supposed to start? So you get all of that, but you get so much more aside from that. You get an insight into how it all began, how James and Ruth first met. I just found it fascinating, and I give it top marks, this book. I thought it was really interesting that the story and the book is told between a two-way conversation between Ruth and James. That makes it feel like you genuinely are sitting in the room with them because it's very conversational. You feel like you are just listening to a conversation, and you can hear each of their different voices, which made me laugh because I know the pair of them and I know the way that they speak, and it genuinely is like being in the room with them, having a cup of tea and just listening to them chat about the show. So I thought that was interesting. And also, because it's done in a conversation, you feel like they end up revealing more. It's not so formal, it's not so, structured. It's just a conversation. And so all sorts of bits and bobs and honesty and truth and arguments and bickering, it all comes out. So I loved the structure of the book. I found it fascinating reading the book to find out how the show actually started. That it was James going to a wedding of his friends, and that sparked an idea. And then him chatting to Ruth, she said, what do you think about this? I've got an idea. And the pair of them, just like as two writers together, getting an insight into that process, how they spark off each other, how the idea originated anyway, what the first idea was. I just thought that was really lovely, seeing Ruth and James like that and having a real appreciation for them as really, really good writers, and not just as friends and not just as, actors, but actually sort of seeing where the spark comes from. It's great because you get to see like early workings of the script, early character breakdowns, early scenes. And being a fan and then also being in the show, you know where those scenes end up. But seeing the beginnings of those scenes, it's really, really raw. And it's very exciting, sort of getting a sneak peek into that. You feel like, oh my gosh, it is something that people have never seen before. And you get to be in there, getting to watch it and getting to read about it. And it's really exciting. The book is just so full of anecdotes and just absolutely gorgeous stories. And I loved reading all about the finale, the last ever episode we did. And it made me cry when I was reading that chapter, because I was so in my own world when we were filming it, to actually then be allowed into James and Ruth's world and into their mind of what they were going through on that day and how they were actors and normal human beings who've got all of their thoughts and feelings, but they've also got a massive job to do. And they've got to make sure that everything is covered and they've got to get everything that they want for that big final episode. So being able to read about that was completely fascinating. And it just really brought back the memories of Rob Brydon doing his karaoke. And how did they say in the book about, we all heard this noise and we pulled back a curtain and Rob Brydon was behind the curtain doing a full vocal warm-up for his karaoke, which I thought was very funny. And then it finished me off then looking at the last set of photos, because there's a photo of the four of us, Ruth, James, Matt and me, and we're all hugging. And I know that that moment was just after Matt and I had said our last ever lines for Gavin and Stacey. So that set me off and it made me cry. And what I also loved about the book is that there are so many photos in it. This has got 3 huge chunks of photos covering from 2006 all the way through till 2025. Behind the scenes, just Ruth and James together, on other jobs, scripts, scenes, and all of us together. And it's really, really good. You get a real behind the scenes look at everything. I think the warmth of the show and the family and the community and also the love that we all shared between each other really shines through in this book. Just listening to Ruth and James have this conversation and the way they talk to each other as best friends and reminiscing and their stories and things which meant so much to them, and then all of their different anecdotes and how things came to be and when things went wrong and when they fell out. There's all the huge amount of emotions all the way there in that book, and it just really gives you a sense of just how much love and excitement and fun was shared in the making of Gavin and Stacey. Gavin and Stacey was the most wonderful experience for me. I had a whale of a time. From 2006 all the way through to 2025, it was a time when I was with a lovely group of people who became my family. There was so much love and fun and laughter, and it was just a wonderful experience. And I think that this book really, really captures that. I recommend this book to all lovers of TV and TV shows, all lovers of Wales and Essex, lovers of sitcoms, and just massive, massive fans of Gavin and Stacey. I thought that this Hawaii pizza was just perfect for this book because this pizza reminds me of Stacey. It is fun, it is quirky, it is my favourite kind of pizza. Now, I'm slightly biased, but I absolutely adored this pairing. You can get your copy of When Gavin Met Stacey and Everything in Between now from the Radio Times shop. Grab a Ristorante pizza from your nearest supermarket and try it for yourself.